What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John. Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid.
M. The whole world is a urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Hello! Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I am John.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm M.
And we are reviewing The Endless, which is the second half of Justin Moorhead and Aaron Benson's little two-parter. So before we get started, if you want to get a hold of us, facebook.com/justanotherhorrorpodcast. We're on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Or we gonna sue your balls to the wall.
Oh, you can get a hold of us at justahorrorpodcast@gmail.com too.
Twitter, Just Horror Pod.
Instagram, Just a Horror Pod.
Just so you guys know, if you have not seen this or Resolution, you should watch both of them first, one or the other, before you listen to either podcast. You need to. Because nothing that we're going to talk about in this episode is going to make a goddamn bit of sense if you don't. Okay.
Goddamn lick of sense!
Thank you.
I mean, I don't think you had to. Did you have to watch Resolution in order to?
Not really.
I don't think
No.
you had to.
But I think that it really adds to it, watching that.
There's
definitely.
certain parts where if you didn't see it, you'd be like, who are these people?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched a review today, and they had not seen Resolution,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "I watched The Endless, and I went back and I watched Resolution
Maybe that's the way
after
to
the
do
fact."
it. I don't know.
I like it the way we did it. I
Yeah.
like watching the first one and then the second.
I did too.
Same. All right.
And then you know what they're talking about when it flashes back to different things from Resolution.
Yeah.
Plot synopsis!
Two brothers receive a cryptic video message inspiring them to revisit the UFO death cult they escaped a decade earlier. Hoping to find the closure that they couldn't find as young men, they're forced to reconsider the cult's beliefs when confronted with unexplainable phenomena surrounding the camp. As the members prepare for the coming of a mysterious event, the brothers face to unravel the seemingly impossible truth before their lives become permanently entangled with the cult.
I said a synopsis, not the novel.
Well, you said to read that one. I told you said yes.
I think that was really
It
good.
was really detailed, yeah. Good job on that.
I think that was way better than like the 2-sentence ones that sometimes.
Humans are on the menu!
Oh, right.
Right.
Aaron's the younger brother, and he really liked it at this thing, whatever this thing is. I would not call it a cult.
He calls it a commune. His brother calls it a cult.
It's a commune. They're not trying to kill each
No.
other. They have no desire to do that at all. Like, I think Justin just needs to chill, man. He's so... The first time I watched it, I'm like, is he the hero? Because he's a jackass.
Yeah, he just wants to be able to control everything, yep.
And so he, at the same time, complains all the time about having to take care of Aaron because he's his younger brother who wants to go back to the commune, and he's trying to get him to just do normal things like, you know, get your car repoed and whatnot. Those kind of things. So...
But if I were his younger brother, I would be very annoyed with him all the time, trying to be so bossy and control everything in my life.
Especially when life was going probably pretty good.
Yeah,
and then he's
back
like,
when...
they're going to cut off your dick. No, they're not. I felt so bad for Aaron in this movie.
Oh, I know, me too. They both had totally different memories of what this place was like, definitely.
Right, and I was wondering how old they were when they were there before, because that video...
Wasn't it like 10 years before?
It was 10 years before, but like, so how old was Aaron? Because he says he doesn't really remember, but he looks like a grown adult in that video. So I was like, well, how?
I wonder if something after they get out of that, they get like their memories. It could change something. I don't know.
Maybe. Like, he seemed like a grown man.
Right.
He didn't seem like he was like 14 or something.
Maybe.
Oh. Maybe, like, they were at the end of the time loop there, and then, like, when they got out of it, they were in the beginning of the time loop, so they didn't remember all the stuff that would have happened after that.
They aren't in the time loop.
Huh?
They are not in the time loop.
They were never in it when they were in the cult back in the day.
Because you can't get out.
Yeah, okay.
If you stay in once, you are stuck.
Well, how were they there all those years, though, back before?
Because they were never there for the ascension or whatever. They
were
were never
when it
there.
Happens, if
they
you're
weren't
there
the full 10 years
Yeah.
the first time to be killed and then like come back.
Mm-hmm.
So they were never stuck there. And I think that's when Justin previously was like wanting to get out because they were talking more and more about the ascension and stuff, and he was like, I don't know what that is, and we need to go.
Right.
I think that was his
part of
motivation.
But
you
for
think?
him to walk up to Mike and tell him that they were a UFO death cult and looking to spread the word, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Why is he looking to spread the word?
Yeah, that was
He's just
weird.
He was
fucking
looking
with
for
them.
donations.
So they could get money so they could get out of there.
I mean, I don't know to get out of there, but I know, like, his motivation, I feel like, well, and it's possible that he didn't understand what they
No,
were.
he didn't.
Because nobody explained it to him.
Right,
He had
yeah.
no idea. So he kind of got his own ideas about what was going on there while they were living there. So at some point he was afraid enough that he was like, we need to go.
Yeah. Plus, he had met that shitty Carl before, right? And he had told him stories about
Oh, yeah.
what this really was, and that wasn't true. He was just telling them that stuff to, like, try to get them out of there so that they wouldn't get caught in the loop, I guess. But
Right.
he didn't tell them that. He just made up stuff about UFO death cult.
Yeah. And then he went, like, to the media after the fact to tell them it was a
Right.
UFO death cult. And I'm not sure what that...
Yeah, that's why I don't
know
understand
why
his
he did
motivations
that.
at all. Maybe he was hoping they would go in and get them out of there or something?
Yeah, maybe. He probably just genuinely thought that it was a bad cult, and he wanted everyone
It
to
could
get
be
saved.
that, or it could have been he was a teenager who was an asshole, and when he wasn't getting what he wanted, he decided to take revenge on everybody by pointing out that they were assholes, and
Yeah.
they really weren't. And he ruined
Could
them
be.
by doing that.
There was at one point that Hal... Was it Hal? Like, he called him the leader, but he wasn't the leader.
Right.
Was it Hal?
Yeah.
Said you always had a problem with... You had a problem with not knowing, with not, you know, like... there being no leader, with their... You
Right.
know, like, he was like, you've always had a problem with this whole setup here.
Yeah.
Even when you were a kid.
Yeah, so that tells me when he didn't get what he wanted, he just left.
Right,
Took his brother with him, because his brother's like, whatever, you're my older brother. Because their parents died, or at least their mom
mom.
died
Yeah,
on
in
the
a
side
car
of the
wreck.
road. Yeah.
And then this cult, or whatever you want to call it, they saved them. But he didn't...
It's hard to explain something like that. I guess the only thing... Sometimes you just gotta be honest and be like, there is a unknowable creature in the
Yeah.
sky. He kills us like every 10 years. We come back and have all of our memories and just start over. So,
But it would have seemed so unbelievable to them. Like, I think they have to figure it out for themselves, or else you're not going to believe it. So that's probably why they don't really come out and explain it to anybody, because they're like, if I do, it's just going to sound crazy. It's something you have to figure out for yourself, sort of.
well, that's why he's telling him, go figure this out.
Yeah.
It's up to you, man. It's not the
but,
same
like,
thing for everybody.
Shitty Carl just...
She-Girl hates
He
it.
he just like explained the whole
Right, yeah.
the whole thing, you know.
Fucking loop of prisons, man!
Well, now that we've gone through the whole movie,
I know. Well, we could do it linear, I guess. I think it's kind of boring to do that, but we would be changing the entire structure of the show if we didn't. So, they both have this deprogramming therapy, and since Aaron got the tape in the mail, which is kind of the same beginning as Resolution, saying they're going to ascend, Justin's worried he wants to go back and is telling his therapist, you know, I am sick of having to watch him all the time. Where Aaron is like, I'm sick of him telling me what to do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron finally convinces Justin to go back just to say goodbye because they think they're going to die.
Right.
And also threw in there that their car is going to be repoed. And I get what Aaron's saying here, man. Their lives suck. And in there, you can literally do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Forever. I'm totally on board with this.
are you?
Oh,
yeah, I have
fuck
mixed
yeah.
thoughts on it. Like, in
I
a
do
way,
too.
it sounds great. You know, you never get more than 10 years older at a time, and then you go back to the age you were, and you just get to infinitely live this youthful life, but yet you have to go through some traumatic death at the end of every 10 years.
But you're right back.
And you have to stay with all the same people.
If you like those people, though, and then other people might jump in, you
And
never
there's
know,
only
and
2 girls, and like
that bothers
8,
Justin
yeah.
a lot.
yeah, there's like 2 men for every girl at this place or whatever.
A part of me would want to do it, but part of me, when they were done at the end, they looked like they had been through some shit, man. Like,
Like after the ascension. You
yeah,
know?
like they had this look on their face. I know this is the last time I watched it. This is what I thought. They had a look on their face like they had seen and been through the kind of shit that no one should ever have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, it's cool because they get to live forever. So they're kind of like defeated. They have this look like they're like, cool, let's do it again. Like, but they really don't want to because they're traumatized from the
Yeah.
shit they just went through.
Tim is the oldest one there.
The brewer. He's the brewer.
He's the brewer. Supposedly he has been there the longest. And he's the one that kind of lured them away when the ascension was about to happen by opening the shed. Mm-hmm. So they weren't a part of the ascension, and I feel like he's the one that is kind of frustrated with all of it. Like, he's like, yeah, this sounded great at the beginning, but I'm kind of sick of it now, you know, because I don't know how long he's been there, but I feel like it's been longer than
they all love his beer except him. He does not like his beer. He's throwing it out all the time.
Right, and that, I think, is part of the frustration, because it's like, okay, I can spend my life working on, like, perfecting something and really getting good at something, and I think he's realized that the perfection is never, it's not a thing, it's never going to happen.
It's either that or he did it, and now what?
Yeah. Right, right.
Because that's the problem with living forever, is once you've done everything, there's nothing left to do, and you still got time on your hands.
That makes me rethink becoming a vampire, then.
Yeah. But if you're a vampire and you've been alive for 300 years and you're broke, you suck.
You're broke?
Just go stake yourself. It's been 300 years and you haven't got any money yet.
They have money.
I know, because they're fucking vampires.
Just kill people and take everything.
Exactly.
I know we're off track here because this is not a movie about vampires.
But, like, life is exhausting, and even, like, let's say, like, reincarnation is real. Like, the cycle of samsara, like, your soul gets exhausted eventually, and you don't want to keep living and living a life after life. Like, if you're living the exact same life 10 years at a time over and over and over and over, I feel like that would get old.
Yeah, it would.
I feel like 10 years is better than, like, the 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Or the 10
seconds. The 10 seconds? Oh, my God. That poor guy.
Who's been there since the Civil War,
That
apparently.
would be like hell. I mean, it'd be like torture for eternity.
He makes me wonder if you can get out of this, because he keeps trying to get out before he gets killed again.
Yeah.
So, and his time is only, 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
Yeah.
I think that's why Carl is moving so fast all the time, because he's trying to get the fuck out of there and he just can't get out.
But they can't physically leave, can they? Like, okay, so these are some of the questions that came up. Like, can the ones that have been reborn in their time loop or whatever, can they even leave that dome, their time dome thing? Because Anna was talking about going to thrift stores and getting stuff, and like, Shitty Carl was like, go to the gun nut tweaker. Like, how does he even know that person is there if he can't leave his dome?
Yeah, are they aware of each other in their domes? Is it like if they get killed in the dome, they can leave, but when the dome does the thing again, they're dead and they have to come back to the dome?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Because, I mean, at the end there, when they were trying to get out of that loop, there were birds that kept hitting the edge of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So they couldn't get out, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it was starting all over then, but it hadn't hit them yet, so you would think they'd be able to get through it if there was a way to get through that.
Right. Like, they were moving between the domes and stuff, but were the other people?
I never saw them move between the domes. No,
I don't think anyone else did.
Anytime that Shitty Carl would get near, he would disappear.
Yeah, so it must
he
be...
walked out one time and ended up right back inside of his cabin.
Yeah.
But also, when Aaron went through the dome and Anna then was on the inside, they couldn't see each other, but they were there.
And she could sense him. It's like she knew he was there, because
she knew he left and knew that he wasn't coming back, and that's why she was standing there like that. But she can't leave. Those markers are there to tell them where their borders are, and if they go outside of those, they're going to end up right back in. I don't know if it kills them to put them back in. I have no idea. It doesn't really explain a lot.
So how do they know about each other? Like, Shitty Carl was talking about, like, the cult up the road. They think this and they think that.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
And he knew where Chris was, and that he
had guns and stuff. It could be other people that wander through there.
Tell them
about each other.
Could be.
Now, he knows Carl and Chris know each other, because they go back.
They talk about... Chris talks about Shitty Carl in Resolution. Yeah. I forget what he says about it.
Something about his laptop. I sold my laptop to Shitty Carl.
Which Carl talks
Gave
about
me
it
a
in this
shitty
one.
laptop, doesn't even work.
Yeah.
Nice. But, okay, so...
And, like, he wants a gun from Chris, but he can't go get the gun. He has to have somebody that's not in that time loop go get it for him and bring it to him.
Right. Okay. So then... Okay, so the other thing is, if they remember... they remember everything from the previous time loops.
See, that was confusing to me too, because if that's the case, how come when what's Chris's friend's name?
Mike.
When Mike gets there, like in the beginning of the loop, it's always the same. Like Chris is like, "Oh, Mike, how you been?" Like it's the same thing every time.
Maybe.
But yet Mike remembers that because he's like, if I have to hear that one more time, you know.
Right. But then but Justin saw them, their time reset.
Yeah.
And he was getting out of the car saying, "It's me, your friend, Mike." Like they had no memory of it.
Right.
So
is it like eventually like they start like receiving messages that remind them of their previous?
Those two believe that they're in a movie, and they believe that they have to give it a proper resolution. So they will do the same things over and over again to try and get the ending correct. That's why they keep showing up and being like, "It's Mike, don't shoot."
So they immediately remember everything from all their previous lives.
That's
They're just
their
pretending
theory.
not
Their
to.
theory is if they can give this thing an ending that it wants to this movie resolution, then they can get out of there. Sometimes they get so frustrated with it, though, they're like, "Fuck you," and they just set themselves on fire.
Do they understand the whole time loop thing that's happening? But they think that they're trying to figure out.
They know they're in one. They don't know what it's for. They think it's for a movie. Because they keep getting movies and film and of themselves, and they're like, "Okay, it doesn't like that. We have to try something else."
Okay.
Do you think it's possible for anybody to ever figure out a way to leave the loop if they are in it, in any of those time loops?
Maybe Byron did.
Well, yeah, that's a possibility. That's the only one. But we don't know. I mean, there's a note saying that he's gone, but it doesn't mean that he actually was able to escape the loop.
Right.
Byron's the
French
trailer red weed guy.
Yeah, he's not there when they show up.
Yeah, but what did the note say? He went to go find his colleagues. So maybe that's the beginning of his time loop.
It could be.
Because that's what he was talking about, that he had the couple that was working with him or whatever.
Oh, which I read that they actually, it's a scene that's cut, or they didn't end up filming it, that they were going to see his colleagues and they were actually stuck in their own loop nearby.
That would have made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So maybe he got, I don't know, who knows. It'll be so interesting to see if they make more movies in this universe, because I bet they've got all sorts of ideas.
I wanted more, and I was hoping Something in the Dirt would be that, but it's not that at all. It's something completely different. But
there was another movie that came out that they made right before this
Spring?
one. Yes. Yeah.
That doesn't have anything
to do with
that
either.
Okay, so it's just these two.
Mm-hmm. So far, anyway.
So much more of this.
But, I mean, I watched an interview with them, and it sounds like they do have other ideas. There's characters that they've thought of that haven't made it into these movies that still exist in their minds that they could do something with.
That's just it. It's like a bunch of characters. It's a bunch of it's like a character-driven movie.
Yeah.
So I want more.
Me too.
I'll hang out with Shitty Carl for a movie. That's fine. Alright, so they go back and everything looks culty. People are talking culty. And the main with quotes is, the main guy is Hal. He's not really main anything though, and he makes that clear later. He just talks a lot.
Yeah.
So everybody has their own little thing that they do, and they've had so much time to do it because they keep dying and coming back that they're getting really good at everything they do. They got a magician there. They got Hal is doing an equation, trying to figure out through science what this thing is. So
Lizzie's an artist.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's the one who was tapping on the window in Resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So she used to hang out with Chris, but doesn't go there anymore. So when that happened, she wasn't in the time loop. He wasn't in the time loop. So the time loop hadn't happened yet.
So the time loop, Chris's time loop doesn't start till Mike gets there.
It doesn't start until Mike kneels down because he gives it power. And everyone in these movies is like, don't give that fucker power, because once you do, you're done.
Until Mike showed up, Chris had been living there and he was not in any loop.
Yep.
So it brought it on by sending Mike that tape.
That was the very first time they had been there.
So it's all by sending that tape, it's trying to trap people.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing I didn't understand is say when Aaron walked up to the 3-second guy's loop or whatever, that he didn't get caught in it.
There was a danger of that happening.
Yeah, because the guy was telling him, stay back, don't come in here. So
and even Justin being at Shitty Carl's and his reset while he was there, I was under the impression that if somebody was in that dome during the reset, that they were going to get killed and come back and then be stuck in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's necessarily true.
I think if you kill yourself, you're just gonna come back and still be there. But that doesn't make sense because that is different than what happens to Mike and Chris, right? Like, well, no, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I mean, they kill themselves and then they're still back in the
right
same
back
loop,
at the very
so,
beginning.
Yeah.
That might be what happened.
It must be as soon as you die, it starts back over.
I got it. So if the god resets everything,
it goes for the full length of time.
It's everybody. But if it's you doing it, then the god resets you, not the time.
Or that particular loop. I don't know. Because they're all in different loops.
Because Carl died while Mike was in the loop and had to restart.
But Mike wasn't in the loop. I mean, he was there, but he wasn't.
He wasn't there when he did kill himself.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
I know, it's so, like, mind-bending.
Do you want to describe the look on my face?
I love movies that, like, make you think like this, though.
How long is the liquor store open?
Wait, so just to clarify.
Okay, where are we right now in this movie?
Justin was not with Shitty Carl when the time loop reset on its own.
Yes.
Right. And that's why he didn't get caught in it.
Right. Mm-hmm. All of that would make sense. That would check out for all the other times. There's the tug-of-war thing with the rope. But first there's the magician thing.
Okay, yeah.
So, since they've all had time to get really good at what they're doing, Tim can brew fucking amazing beer. And this other guy whose name I don't remember, I don't even think they give his name, but he's been practicing magic. And so he does a card trick, and you find out what kind of person Justin is. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because he's the kind of guy who does a card trick, and you'll lie to him.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Just to prove him wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's like, all right, I got another trick for you.
Yeah.
Although I really
what
didn't like
say about that one. I mean,
the magic guy's look on his face, just the douchebaggy grin on his face, like that kind of rubbed me the wrong way too.
I was like, should I like this guy? Sometimes he would do cool things. Other times he would say shit that was like college edgy bullshit.
He seemed very smug.
Yes, exactly.
When he was talking about the authors that were talking about like time or something.
Oh, right, yeah. He seems like he'd be an annoying guy.
We're just giving everybody tools to do what they want.
Yeah.
Dude, I've lived with you for over 25 years and will live with you forever. I don't need to hear this again. But
yeah, that ball trick, that was pretty cool.
He tosses the ball up in the air and it just stays up there. Mm-hmm. Justin's not impressed. Justin's not impressed by anything.
I mean, but that did make him start thinking, okay, something weird's going on here.
Mm-hmm. See, he thinks it, but he's just so mad that he doesn't know exactly what it is that he's like, no, fuck it.
Yeah.
He's mad at it.
All right.
So, we find out through Anna that Aaron used to fish, and he would tie these knots on his fishing line. He said, I haven't tied one of those in forever, and they go to this, I don't know what it would be, a game? Confusing.
Yeah.
But there's a rope that comes out of the sky.
I know, it almost looks like it's coming. I don't know where it's coming
they call it the struggle.
Where is it ending at? Like, it looks like they're almost trying to pull the moon down or something.
They think it's Justin says it's that dude on the ladder. I'm like,
yeah, but like, where's he
you?
at? Like,
yeah.
It looks
and then
like
at the
it's
end,
coming out of...
It was showing what it was seeing.
Well, but the Smiley Dave, or whatever. He's like, it's just Smiley Dave on a ladder or whatever. But then whenever it cuts back to them, Smiley Dave is standing behind them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He did something to make Smiley Dave permanently fucked up. I don't know what he did, but something.
Who did?
Justin.
Justin did something to him?
Oh. And wait, where do you get that from?
Because Hal goes, it's bad enough that we can't even get Smiling Dave to take that stupid jacket off, but now people don't want to come here because they think we cut our dicks off.
Oh, what did
he
was with them.
Yes, he was. He was the guy who was with them.
In the video. Mm-hmm. It was Aaron, Justin, and is it Smiling or Smiley?
I don't know.
Anyway, it was the three of them that walked up to Mike in the previous movie.
Yeah. Oh, I want another movie to explain what happened to him.
Maybe he came back and they were all dead. And he didn't know what to do, and it messed him up real bad.
Maybe.
Like, he saw what happens to them, and now he's just completely... Or he missed the Ascension, and now he's just hanging out with all these people, and he's, that would mess you up, too.
Until it comes again.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw a review that said that the struggle, the game with the rope, was like the entity or the god or whatever being playful.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That he likes to play games with them.
It's like they're his little puppies, and he's just playing games with them.
This entity is a piece of shit. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about him at all. And, like, that's why I don't I can't side with these guys, because they're, I mean, you said it at the very, very beginning. That's probably why we shouldn't have went in that order, but, like, you run out of stuff to do, you run out of stuff to want to learn, you eventually just get bored, and now you're stuck there, and this thing is still savagely, even though you praise it and worship it and treat it like a god, it's still savagely destroying you over and over and over for fun, for funsies, for its own entertainment.
But let's say in life God is real. Why are we all here suffering and going through stuff all the time? It's something I've always wondered. I'm like, are we like God's entertainment? Like, you know, like why would you create people just to go through a bunch of horrible things, and some good, some bad? It's like we're just entertainment.
I'm gonna plug this.
We created the horribleness. We should be just, you know, laying on beaches and eating coconuts and shit. Like, we created jobs and money and
We're the
all the shitty shit. You know what I mean?
That, yeah. But it's like, I don't know. It's, everything in life is a mystery. But it's like, maybe we created ourselves. Maybe just consciousness creates stuff.
Right.
And we're like little pieces of consciousness getting to know ourselves.
Here we go.
Why would God let Kenny die, Chef? Why? Kenny's my friend. Why can't God take someone else's friend?
Stan, sometimes God takes those closest to us because it makes him feel better about himself. He's a very vengeful God, Stan. He's all pissed off about something we did thousands of years ago. He just can't get over it. So he doesn't care who he takes. Children, puppies, it don't matter to him so long as it makes us sad. Do you understand?
Then why does God give us anything to start with?
Well, look at it this way. If you want to make a baby cry, first you give it a lollipop, then you take it away. If you never give it a lollipop to begin with, then you would have nothing to cry about. That's like God, who gives us life and love and health just so that he can tear it all away and make us cry, so he can drink the sweet milk of our tears. You see, it's our tears, Stan, that give God his great power.
I think I understand.
Horrible and hilarious at the same time. I don't know. I think I went through the whole, like, what is my purpose? Like, I think I kind of have gone through all that, and I think I just decided that my purpose is just to have fun and have a good life.
I agree.
I don't know, because I think if I try to make it so, like, more than that or bigger than that, then it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much pressure.
And I mean, do we really have to have a purpose? We might just be here.
Yeah.
You know?
The only reason we have to have a purpose is because our actual purpose is just to make baby versions of us and die. And when we don't do that, then we have to do something else, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then we're mad about it. We could just be fucking and eating and sleeping. But no, we gotta go to work and pay for food.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm like, what am I keeping myself alive for? Just to work more? Like,
yeah, to work, to live, to work, to live, to work,
to podcast, baby!
Yeah.
I'm sure your parents are like, what
the fuck? Sorry, Justin finds a picture while he's out chasing shitty Carl around. They appear out of nowhere. Trees are falling down, lights are going out, the sun's literally disappearing from the sky. And there's a bunch of pictures. And one of them is it him? Or no, it's the buoy. It's the buoy.
Oh, yeah.
It's the buoy out in the water. So he takes it to Hal and he's like, could you just please fucking tell me what's going on? He's like, oh, strange words and sentences that are long and convoluted. He's like, oh, fuck. He's like, alright, listen, if you go out into the water and go down, you'll find what you're looking for. It's there. You'll find it. That's how it communicates with them, is what he says. It leaves them visual or audio messages. Mm-hmm. So
pictures, film, whatever.
Yeah. It's
computer,
like clues,
videos.
But if you've seen them long enough, you know what they mean. Like, for instance, later Aaron finds one that's a picture of a house, and he's like, I think you're supposed to go there. So
yeah.
It's almost like it's giving them ideas of where to go to push the story on forward.
Mm-hmm. Which is also kind of a controlling thing. Is it to push the story forward, or is it to control?
Both?
That's a Donnie Darko question. Yeah, can you change your direction in God's channel if you can see where God's channel goes?
Well, in this I would say yes, because Chris and Mike changed their direction. I mean, they were supposed to be killed 3 or 4 different ways, but because of the different hints they were getting, they weren't.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So they
I
did
wonder
change.
if this thing wanted the ending that it got, which was for them to kind of trade roles a little bit, or give Aaron more, if that was a satisfying enough ending that they were allowed to leave.
Maybe.
You could say that they were trying to end their own cycle of...
That's true, too.
Do we know absolutely certain that they're not just stuck in a bigger loop, though, once they get out of there? What if that's a loop, too?
That's a good question.
I don't know if that's a bigger loop. They're definitely not stuck in that dome, because at the end, you know, like, the whole group of them is, like, looking to see if they're gone or not, and you can tell they're, like, disappointed they're definitely gone.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know...
You know, like, where their mom's grave was? That was
Yeah.
not in the loop with the cult people and everything. It was outside of it, right? But yet, the picture there looked totally brand new, you know, that they had put there when they were younger.
Okay,
Right.
new idea. You can choose to leave the loop. I think you can choose to leave it if you want to. They want to stay. Those people all want to stay, and they were hoping that they would want to stay too.
Well, yeah, but, like, Shitty Carl can't leave. Mike and Chris can't leave.
I think Carl can't leave because his loop's too big and he can't get out of it given the amount of time he has.
If he walks for 3 hours, he can't get out of it?
Yeah. I think his loop extends for 3 hours. All he has is that car. Or no
But
no car.
But we don't really have proof that anybody that was stuck in the loop has gotten out of it. So maybe they were saved by... Hal saved them, right?
Could be.
So maybe he wasn't stuck in the loop yet when he saved them. Maybe.
That could be. I was just thinking about what she was saying, how Anna went out and got clothes from the thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can leave the loop. I think you have to choose to be in the loop to get stuck in the loop. So, in other words, what I'm saying is if Anna were to go into town at the thrift store when the ascension happened, she would poof out of the fucking thrift store and poof back into the fucking loop.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But that's because she's already been caught in it for a cycle.
And I also think
Right.
that the bubble is big enough that you can't get out. There will never be enough time for you to get out of that bubble without doing something. Like, you can't get to the end of the bubble. Which doesn't make sense, because
No,
how
'cause
big are
he's-
these bubbles?
Well, right, and Justin is, like... he's running between them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's...
It depends because there's smaller ones and there's bigger ones.
Yeah.
Do you think that they had a writer's meeting like this discussing the size and what the bubbles did? And they just eventually were like, fuck it.
Could be.
I don't know. I think when they came up with it, they had the idea for the time loop bubbles or domes or whatever, and didn't really... They weren't looking at it from an outsider's perspective, trying to ask these questions.
I'd like to know how far all this extends. You know, is it just in that, like, wooded type area that there's all these time loops, or how far does it go?
You know, for this being my favorite movie, I should have fucking really did some research on this, because I don't have a clue what they even thought these loops were doing, what they were for.
Have you seen any interviews
No,
with Justin
never,
and Aaron or anything?
never.
Did you say you watched?
I did, yeah.
Did they answer any questions, or were they just talking about, like, production and stuff? Or...
Well, they did say that they personally know the answer to, like, the end of the movie and everything, but they are not going to reveal that. But they were like, unless somebody pays us a whole bunch of money, and the other one is like, or gives us a shot of whiskey, and they're like, yeah, whiskey.
Okay, so here's a question. At the end, so this was something that kind of bothered me. At the end, when they're driving out to get out of the dome, okay, so you saw that, like, there was this kind of line dividing, and it looked like, I don't know if it was the reflection of their car or another car coming the other way.
It was their car. I think it was a mirror image of what they were in, but they knew that they had to get through it.
Because here's what
they
I
were
thought.
hoping they would get through it.
I thought they were coming towards this, and it was their mom and them.
Oh, interesting.
Whoa!
Coming the other way, and the fire, hurricane thing, whatever, is chasing them, and that is how their mom died,
Whoa.
like 2 loops ago or whatever.
Oh, fuck
I
yeah.
never thought anything about that. That's interesting.
Badass. I love that.
Yeah. I don't know that that's what it is, but I like that thought.
Should
That's
be.
interesting. But I don't know. It looked like it was a reflection to me,
Of
is
their
what
car.
it was.
Okay.
But I thought that ending part looked unrealistic because, I mean, do you really think that they would have been able to get that fast past all that was coming towards them? I feel like that would have just taken over
And
so
they're
much
having
faster.
a whole deep conversation about their
Yeah,
relationship
as they're trying to
pushing
push the car. Like, I
I'm
think
gonna
they
use
would have
your-
been dead by then
Actually,
and
I got
back in
my
the
own.
loop.
I'm going to show you what I
Yeah,
think is going on at the end on a piece of paper.
Because it seemed like it was going in, it was so fast back there, but it was like it was in slow motion, letting them get out of it.
Well, and then is that destroying all the all the other time domes and stuff? Like, cause
I don't think it destroys the time zones. I think it's just, that's the restart kind of thing. It, like, takes it all back to the beginning of the loop. So it's like, they must have to destroy the loop to start it over, you know?
Maybe. That's a little bit...
It's so confusing.
Is that it?
What am I looking at?
I feel like everything has to be a circle, because it's like an infinite...
Well, what I mean is, this is the bubble that they were trying to leave, and then it cuts, and it shows them going through the bubble. Is this the bubble they're going through? Or they keep
You
going
mean like
this way?
they're...
Did they die? And are they going back to the cult?
No.
I personally don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think
Okay.
they got out before the Ascension and before the thing killed them. I think that's what they tried to get across, is that that's what happened.
And then you know how Mike's girlfriend is looking for Mike?
Yes.
And she's back in the cult. Well, in the interview I saw, they did talk about that, and they said that they don't think that she is stuck in the loop. She's just looking for Mike, and she can get out of it. They don't think she was stuck there forever.
Did she leave before the Ascension?
She was never down in the circle with them.
Okay.
And there was the one guy said you have to give up control, you have to let it kill you or
That
whatever.
was Chris, yeah.
So I'm wondering if you're in the dome but you're not giving up to it or whatever, that then you don't get...
Yeah, because it was like they gave into it when, like at the end of Resolution, when Mike and Chris were there, they were like, okay, we've lost, like we just have to give into this now.
Yeah.
And so if you don't give into it, you have a chance of getting out.
Well, I know this. The birds run into that wall. The birds must have died there already,
Right.
so they can't leave. But if you haven't died there already, you can leave. I wonder if you just can't leave when the Ascension happens.
After the Ascension happens.
Oh, okay.
Because they leave during when it's happening. But it hasn't fully happened, so that's why they're able to get through there.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's what makes sense. I'm not saying for
so.
certain.
That works. That's good enough. So, because we are nowhere near what the linear part of this movie, but
Oh, well.
it's okay. This is better anyway. This is a better discussion.
I think you should put like a disclaimer at the beginning of this that you need to have watched the movie before you listen to this
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
because otherwise you'll have no idea what's
Hang
happening.
on. They go out to go fishing because now Aaron is getting really good at fishing because he's supposed to be a fisherman. And Justin jumps into the water and pulls out a box with a cassette in it, but also gets attacked by a monster.
And as
Kinda.
they're leaving in the boat, you see this huge shadow. Like, that's the
In
monster
the-
down there.
Yeah. Looks kind of like a Rorschach check.
I thought that was like a throwaway. There was no point to it. Like, the getting the cassette worked, but the monster never came back into play or anything like that, so...
Yeah, but...
I think it was maybe just to convince Justin a little bit more that there was something else going
Yeah.
on.
Because, like, if he would have just gone down there and got the cassette, he could have been
blamed
like,
it on
somebody put it down
Hal. You
there.
could blame it
Yeah.
on Hal for knowing it was there.
Exactly.
Yeah? So they find the tape and they decide they're going to leave. They're like, all right, that's enough. It's getting weird. So they go back and Hal says, we're going to get culty. And they watch the clip of Justin, Aaron, and what is that guy's name? Smiley Dave talking to Mike from Resolution about their UFO death cult. So they're now, everybody at this place knows that these two went out and told the world that they were a UFO death cult.
Right.
Which is not good because they make a lot of money from beer exporting.
Selling their beer.
Mm-hmm.
So they must be able to get out of the dome. In
Yeah,
between.
somehow the beer's getting distributed to other areas and stuff.
Unless
so.
people are coming and picking it up.
Because that could definitely be.
God, that's like such a a very basic question that's going to bother me. Like, can they just leave the dome in between? They must be able to.
I wonder if they can.
But
And just, I mean, can they...
Shitty Carl can't leave.
Yeah, he's just right back there when he tries to. So.
Mike can't leave.
I don't...
Mike didn't go home to his wife because he thought this thing was going to follow him.
Mm-hmm.
But
It
in all
tricked him into
actuality, you know what I mean? Like, he could have gone home to his wife
Yeah, it tricked him into
before
staying.
the end of the week.
This thing is evil. It's completely and totally evil. It rips people around with a rope for fun. It kills them for fun and entertainment. It traps them in these loops for fun and entertainment. It's a big baby. When it doesn't get what it wants, it throws projectors around. What an asshole.
Oh yeah, why did it do that?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Why did it do that? That was by the trailer, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like showing like an infinite thing of this projector. Like you'd see the projector, and then you'd see the projector on the projector, and then suddenly it shoots off.
It's almost like it's saying, and that's how the movie ends. And it's this thing is like, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This thing's never gonna be happy.
Yeah.
I would literally just be like, I would go out and I'd be like, what? Tell me what to do.
I mean, that's what Mike did. That's what Mike did at the end of the resolution.
But I don't think there is an answer. I think it's just going to kill you forever and ever because it's fun to.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that the news is out that these two have gotten the news involved and all this shit, Justin is freaking out because Aaron knows now that Justin lied to him, right? And he's starting to panic a little bit. And everything that Justin says just sounds like nonsense. He's just trying anything to make it seem like Hal is the bad person and this is a cult and Aaron should have listened to him the whole time. And Hal reveals they don't have... Since it's not a cult, they don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
I mean, Justin seemed to truly believe that because he said something about, like, we're not castrated. He's like, you are castrated. He's like, I'm pretty sure we're not, you know, like... So he believed that they were.
But he also said, I never said they were that.
Yeah, so I'm like, what's real here? I don't know. Maybe he was just lying.
He's a piece of shit.
God,
yeah.
But then part of it was told to him by Shitty Carl as well, right?
No, not yet. No, he hadn't left yet. Oh, wait, you mean like before when he was little? Yeah. Carl tried to explain it to him.
So I think that's partially why he thought these things.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because Shitty Carl called it a cult, right?
Yeah. But he was making up stuff to try to get them out of there.
And he was on fucking crack.
Yeah.
Oh my god, if I were stuck in a time dome...
On crack?
So many drugs.
Right.
So many drugs.
I'm trying all of them. I'm trying all of them. I don't care.
Get addicted, because it's gonna go away in 3 hours anyway.
Yep.
Justin's so mad now that he's just going to leave without Aaron. Aaron refuses to go with him. But Aaron left the light on in the car again, which we didn't mention at the beginning. He left the light on in the car before and killed the battery.
Yeah.
And he's done it again. So Justin's going to try to walk out of here, but eventually runs into Shitty Carl, this guy we've been talking about the whole movie. And he's hung himself. And then he burst in through the door.
But he's still hanging there.
I'm trying to imagine what it's like listening to this without having seen it.
Yeah, nobody should.
He's hanging there, but then he comes in the door. Yeah.
Freaky. Really freaky.
But that was weird to me because, like, nobody else that has died stays there with their dead corpse and
nobody else
they have
suicide.
A double of themselves. Yes, they do. What about Mike and Chris?
Mike and Chris do. Yeah. This movie makes no fucking sense!
Sorry.
I mean, maybe...
You picked
I
it!
know, maybe I like it because it doesn't, but, like, I feel like the characters in this movie, there is no answer. It's whatever I want it to be, because there isn't one.
Oh, and we haven't gotten to the moons.
Oh, there's 3, right?
Yeah, but at first, you see that there's 2 moons, and then the 3rd moon's just starting.
I feel like at first watch, you're like, oh, cool. You know, time domes, like, you know, time loops that reset and people are stuck in them and da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know, like, that sounds great. But this is my second time watching it. I totally forgot about a lot of it. But on the second watch, like, I had so many more questions. Well, if this, then why can't they do this? Or why can't, you know, how do they do this? And how, can they do this? Can they do that? Like, I feel like, and maybe it's me not understanding it, but I feel like there are holes in it.
Yeah, it's like when you have time to really think about it, you just get more and more questions instead of answers.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the thing is, we're talking about a god in time loops here, so these things aren't.
Right. I mean,
so
obviously,
there's no
like,
concrete answer where we're going to be like, that's it, that's perfect.
Right. Like, Justin and Aaron came up with this in their own minds, and to them it's all explained. Maybe they didn't get across, like, all of the details of it. Maybe they didn't want to.
Right, yeah.
Maybe they wanted to leave it.
It's supposed to be unexplained, because in life things are unexplained.
Right.
And
leave it open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You can make your own.
Like, even the people that were in the loop didn't totally understand it. They didn't know exactly what was going on. They didn't know why they had multiple moons or, like, why you would see the reflection, because they were trying to explain it. And what's the girl's name?
Anna.
Yeah, she was like, nobody really knows here.
Right.
We just are making our guesses.
Right.
I wonder if that's the whole point of this movie. Like, the first time you watch it, you're more like Aaron, where you're just like, cool, time loops. And
Yeah.
like you were saying. And then the second time, you're Justin, and you're like, what is this? Yeah.
Give me answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. There, we figured it out.
What are you playing with?
Fidgety things I'm throwing on the ground right now. After Shitty Carl explains to Justin that they're in a time loop, he tells him, I need a gun from Chris. He has a whole shit ton of them. He's the junkie up the... You have to follow these...
The gun nut tweaker.
Yep.
Yep.
You have to follow these little things that are out. I don't even know what they are. Sticks with rocks on them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like basically markers to tell you where these different...
They're almost like volcanic kind of remnants. It almost looks like a lightning bolt that kind of got like stuck in the ground almost. It's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, no need
it's
to
okay.
even just take that out.
No, you're right. They explained at the very beginning, they're like, what are those things? And they said like volcanic ash or something like that. Justin's looking for Chris's house, and Aaron finds a picture of himself looking at himself in that very moment, which is crazy. So Hal's like, I guess it was looking at you. It wants you to go do whatever it is you wanted to go do, which is go find Justin. So, but he still can't tell him what it is. He's like, it's made of impossible colors, and I don't really... No one knows. He goes looking for Justin. Justin meets Chris and Mike, who are in the process of watching more shitty videos of them dying.
Yeah.
That's their loop. Their loop is Mike shows up, handcuffs Chris to a wall, and makes him watch videos of them dying.
Oh yeah. How would you like to spend the week for eternity, every week after week, trying to kick crack and meth and you know, like basically in withdrawal over and over and over again. Like, the next time Mike walks up from his car, I'd be like, don't even fucking think about it.
Yeah.
Don't even think about it. We got 1 week here.
Yeah.
Let's just start firing at the truck and like, get away from me!
Or maybe he should just have Mike join him. They can both do crack and meth all week.
If
and
they
then
both
just
remember it,
restart
Chris should just handcuff himself and be like, no, come on in.
We're going to be here all
waiting.
week. Let's do all the drugs.
Yeah. He'll give it to Mike, and Mike will be like, you're right, man, you're right. Fuck life.
Let's have a good week for once.
Yeah.
Whatever they tried last time obviously didn't work, because they watched themselves get destroyed again. Chris is like, don't let this thing win. Don't give it any power whatsoever. So Mike gives him a gun, and then explains that he left his wife and child at home, and then lights himself on fire. And then boom, he's back.
I wonder how long his wife's been there at that point. Like,
I don't know. Neither one of them know. They both say it's been
a few something.
It's been a while.
And I wonder how old their child's getting at this point, back
He's probably
without
like an
them.
adult at this point.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's probably less than 10 years.
Yeah, because she's not in the loop stuck in there.
So, but I don't know.
God damn, dude. Ugh. Hope this God's happy with itself. I'm
Yeah.
sure it is. It's like, look at all these people crying and suffering. It's so awesome. Look at the Civil War dude still trying to get out after like 100 years. What an ass.
Oh my god. So horrible.
So the Civil War dude is this dude who died in a time loop that is so small, it's inside of a tent. And if he can't get out before the god destroys him, the god destroys him. And he has like 2 seconds to do it. Forever.
Yeah.
So
Enough to get across a message to Aaron.
he does manage to
Yeah.
tell Aaron, don't come in here to save me.
Don't come in here. Leave. Get out.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron's like, I think I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
This looks awesome. He's backing up away from it. He's like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Like, the 10-year loop with the commune would be tempting at the time, but
better.
then when you really think about it...
That's what I think that might be what snapped him out of it. Like, seeing that guy get shredded like that, he's like, this isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
So, but then at that point, all he wants to do is get Justin to allow him to stay there.
Yeah.
So,
that's the other thing. Why are they so insistent on staying together? Or why is Justin so insistent on them staying together? Like, that's...
Yeah.
Like, if Aaron wants to stay there, Aaron can stay there, and Justin can leave. Like, they're brothers. They're not...
But they're all, each other of them have left, too, you know, of their family, like...
Well, yeah, but, like, go make a life. Like, go...
Right, yeah. Maybe he does just feel a responsibility for his younger brother, though. He feels like he's the parent almost now that they don't have their mother or
I
father.
think he even said that at the beginning.
Probably, but not a good one. Like,
No.
you know what I mean?
No,
like,
not good, but I think that's probably...
Like, he's so controlling that Aaron has no idea how to do anything.
At
or
the
what
end, he's like,
anything is.
we're almost out of gas, and he's like, we'll figure it out. There's a
Right,
real
yeah,
simple
it's
solution
on,
to
like, empty,
that.
and he's like, it's always on empty, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, he knows nothing.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does, yeah.
And
But at the end there, Justin was ready to actually finally give up control,
Fine.
though. He's
Let
like,
him
okay,
figure
you
it
can
out.
figure
You want to
it
run
out.
out of gas and go find a gas station?
he
Go ahead.
didn't know what sex was. I mean,
We slept together, yeah, we fell asleep.
Yeah, that was funny. He's like, well,
Wait.
that's what it means. Like, I slept and she slept.
I have a story about this. When I was in first grade,
Damn.
when I was in first grade, Madonna's "Like a Virgin" was a very popular song on the radio. It came out in 1984. Oh, I just told everybody how old I am. Okay. So it was on the radio all the time. And one time I was riding in the car with my dad and at least one of my brothers. I'm not sure if it was both of them. And I was like, what's a virgin? I remember asking this. And my dad was like, and I know he took his time. He took his time trying to think about it. And I was like, okay, so this isn't like, just an everyday question. He was like, it's somebody who has never slept with somebody else. And in my mind, I'm like, slept with.
Yeah.
Right? I go into school, people are talking about the song, and I was like, I'm not a virgin.
Oh my gosh.
No.
And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I slept in the same bed with my dad.
No!
Like,
At
on
least in the
vacation.
same bed. At least you didn't say I slept with my
I
That
know.
would have been even worse.
Like, on vacation when we have a hotel room and stuff, or like sometimes like if I'm scared at night, like I'll go in and I'll sleep with my parents. I'm not a virgin. I've slept with people.
That is so funny.
Oh, I like how indignant you got at the end.
Oh yeah, and everybody. This was at the lunch table, and everybody's like, "No, it's if you've never had sex." And I'm like, "No, it's just if you slept with somebody. If you slept, you know what I mean?" And because my fucking family wouldn't, we were wasps. You don't talk about that kind of stuff, and that,
The
oh
poop-
my
the
god,
poop thing,
Oh,
the
that's
poop thing. You
funny.
guys don't say the word poop.
we never talked about that.
You
I
never talked about poop.
No.
Wow.
No, we never said that word. We never said poop. Do you know what we called it?
Oh, I can't wait.
Pushes.
That's hilarious.
Do you need to go pushes? And I remember this girl in college being like, that's how you get a hernia. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You push too hard?
Oh,
My brain. It's a... Oh my
that's
god.
funny.
It's a wonder I'm sitting.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a glimpse into my life.
So in this loop, there's the 3 moons, and when the 3rd moon is full, then it starts over again.
The ascension.
Are the other loops like that? Do they have multiple moons? Like,
Well,
Yeah, I wondered about that,
The Civil
too.
War one does not.
because it's all daytime. Well, I mean, they would still have a moon in the sky somewhere.
Like,
You
I
just
don't
wouldn't
think
see
he
it.
gets to see it.
I don't think
No.
Shitty Carl... I think Shitty Carl's stuck at night.
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Time
because
changes around at
but-
different places.
We saw him during the day when they first got there. He was...
Maybe it's like evening time, like when it's switching from day to night.
Maybe.
Because he only
He
has
never-
a 3-hour loop.
Do you think he's running around because he's trying to get away and it just keeps snatching him up and putting him back?
I mean, he's always walking angrily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's always leaving stuff behind when he disappears. So he's like
Yeah.
trying to get out of there. He doesn't have time for shit, but this thing's like, poof, get back there. Stop that.
Yeah,
You don't think
I'd
he
be
can...
getting pretty cranky.
So I think because he wants to, okay, this is my new theory. Because he wants to leave to permanently leave, this thing's like, no. Because Anna's going into town to bring clothes back to this place.
It
It's
knows
like,
that she's planning on coming
Yeah, they're
back, so
coming
she's
back.
allowed to leave.
How would it know his intention, though?
It's God.
If
It's everywhere
like
all the
a
time.
god, it's an all-knowing
Yeah.
kind of.
Is there anything that Shitty Carl could do to be like, just going to get some ice. I'll
He probably
be right
couldn't.
back.
I'm going to get some cigarettes. Yep.
Coming back, God, I swear. I don't know.
I have no idea, and they didn't explain it, and that's fine. Because, what did I give it? A 10.
A 10?
I gave both these a 10. They're like the same movie to me. So,
Resolution and the Endless.
yeah.
Okay.
They go together. This is like one of my comfort movies. This, Videodrome, The Fly. The kind of movies that you sit back and get comfortable to.
The Fly. I still can't eat those little sponge cakes.
Oh,
because of
yeah.
The Fly. Sorry.
Let's give a visual example. Yeah, this and those are like my comfort movies. This movie is so much fun for me to watch because it makes my brain immediately just start coming up with different ideas. We just got through this. I still don't know what's going on, so I'll be back to check it out again. But I can't recommend either of these high enough. They're some of my favorite movies. These two are great, and if they ever want to do more with more of the people in these bubbles, I would love to see it. So, all right, whoever.
I think I rated Resolution an 8, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And I think I'm sticking with that, and I'm going to rate this one an 8 as well. I really, really liked both of them, and I am already excited to rewatch them both, because it's such an interesting concept. I really like it. I love movies that make you think, and there's just so much to think about with these, and I feel like you could watch them over and over and still keep coming up with different stuff. Mm-hmm. So, the acting wasn't like the greatest of all time or anything,
no,
but
definitely not.
I mean, they're mainly writer-directors, though, the main ones, so, I mean, you're not expecting, like, Oscar-worthy acting from them. But, yeah, interesting concept. I really like the whole low-budget thing. It, like, gives it a sense of realism that I don't think it would have if it was a higher-budget movie. And having, like, this weird sci-fi stuff in there, it just makes it more realistic to me.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Em?
I'm gonna say 7. I like maybe like 7.5. I like it. I definitely like both of them together. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of it. I think it's really creative. It's probably not like my ideal kind of storyline, but definitely good. You know what I mean? Like, I respect it. I think, like, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I want to go watch a time travel, kind of, like, that's not really my thing, which is why I probably don't rate it higher. So it's totally just personal opinion. But yeah, I mean, I would recommend it. It's not my favorite, but I like it, and I like the whole concept and the idea of it.
Cool. Okay. All right, let's get at... Now, you said...
I'm not saying that anymore.
You do not want to say Thrill Me.
I'm not saying it anymore. It's not something I would ever say in my entire life. I would never, ever demand that somebody else, quote unquote, thrill me. It is not something I would ever say.
You're just wanting the movies to thrill you, and then we're thrilling everyone with our thrilling podcast.
I mean, I suppose. I'm not saying it anymore. It's not my line. You can plug in the original guy that said it.
I'm not putting Cobra in here.
No, well, no.
What, Tom Atkins?
Yeah, you can put Tom Atkins in there, but I will say something else. Maybe I'll make it different every time.
That could be it.
Like this time I might say, stay fresh, cheese bags.
You're stealing from Top 5 of Death.
Okay, maybe I'll just say balls.
Yes.